Why do avoidance sabotage good relationships? It's one of the quietest tragedies in modern love today. It doesn't explode, it erodes. Things are going well, closeness is building. Your guard is down, their guard is almost down. And right at that moment, boom, they pull away. They go cold. They pick fights. They create distance. Or end things quickly, suddenly, like the relationship never meant a single thing. And to anyone watching from the outside, it makes no sense. Why would someone push away such a good thing? But to someone with avoidant attachment, love doesn't always register as safety. Sometimes it registers as danger, pressure, exposure. Good relationships activate their oldest fears: fear of needing someone, fear of being hurt, fear of not being enough, fear of losing control. The sabotage doesn't come from hatred, it comes from fear so deep that they don't even feel it consciously. Most avoidants learned very young that emotional closeness isn't safe. Love meant inconsistency. Needs went unmet. Expressing feelings led to rejection or shame. So they adapted by becoming self sufficient. They handled everything alone. They learned that needing someone is dangerous. And as adults, that childhood lesson becomes a default script. If I let you in, you can hurt me. If I depend on you, I'm going to lose myself. So even when the relationship is healthy, stable, loving, their inner alarm goes off. And the very thing that they want, genuine intimacy, and that becomes a thing that they run from. This is the split inside an avoidant. One part of them longs for connection, and the other part is terrified of it. So they start finding ways to push you away without admitting why. They nitpick, they get distant, they say they're confused or just not ready. They pull back right when it should feel safe to lean in, not because they stop caring, but because vulnerability feels like losing control. And the better the relationship is, the scarier it feels for them. So when the avoidant feels deeply seen or loved without any conditions, it disrupts their entire worldview. Their brain goes straight to the, what's the catch? Will this end? If you knew the real me, you'd leave. So instead of letting the love in, they scan for flaws. They convince themselves that the spark is gone. They tell themselves that they're falling out of love, when really, they're just overwhelmed. And underneath all that withdrawal, there's a quiet belief: I am unlovable if fully known. And to protect themselves, they leave before you can leave them. Then comes the logic, the tidy excuses. I need space. I'm better off alone. This is just who I am. They aren't lies. They're shields. Protective stories that keep them from confronting the deeper truth. Intimacy terrifies them. Independence feels safer than closeness. Loneliness feels safer than emotional risk. And yes, they often sabotage the connection that they want the most. So if you've loved an avoidant, you've definitely felt this heartbreak. Just when things get real good, they disappear. You offer stability, they retreat. You think it's about you, it's not. They're not rejecting you. They're rejecting vulnerability. Being emotionally dependent on someone makes them feel weak and sometimes even exposed. So when the relationship gets too real, they shut down to protect themselves. And here's the other layer: perfectionism. Avoidants think that they have to be emotionally flawless. Needing you feels like failure. So they act indifferent when they're deeply invested. And yes, they get lonely. But loneliness feels much safer than a risk. Now, can this pattern change? Absolutely. But only with awareness and healing. They have to see the pattern. They have to question their narrative. They have to learn that love doesn't mean losing themselves. Therapy helps. Self-reflection helps. Being with a partner who can set boundaries helps. But the transformation begins with this truth: avoidance isn't coldness, it's fear wearing armor. And if you're the partner, your healing comes from boundaries, not chasing. You can hold space without losing yourself. You can love without rescuing. Because the moment that you start overgiving, the avoidant collapses under pressure. And in the end, avoidants sabotage good relationships, not because they're broken, but because they were taught that closeness equals danger. And their protection became their prison. And until they learn that love can actually be safe, they will keep running from the connection that they secretly want the most. So if you love an avoidant, or if you are a one, remember this: the fear is real, but so is the possibility of healing. Love doesn't demand perfection, it asks for presence. And anyone can learn that with truth, not with pressure.